everyone. How are you? It's Tracy coming to you live from Golden Dog Adventure Company headquarters. And I am here today with our partner, Laura Gendron from Misbehavior. How are you, Laura?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Glad you could join me today to talk more about the Partner Holiday Showcase. I know we've been having quite a few live broadcasts over the last couple of days, telling you about all the great partners involved with the project and all the great products and services and deals and events, all the good stuff. And Laura has been a partner for several years, and she has all good stuff to talk to you about. And she also does offer a specific discount for Golden Dog members that I know she will get into as well. But before we do, Laura, just in case anybody is not familiar with you or your company, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yes. So Misbehavior, again, is the name of my company. I've been in business since 2008, and I started the New Hampshire SPCA and in group classes, and then I stayed in group classes for a while. And then I moved over to private training because group classes just felt a little too, I don't know, maybe I was overstimulated in the environment, but I think a lot of people do get overstimulated in the bigger group classes. So it just wasn't for me. And then once I went to private training, I also worked in a vet's office. So my two of my passions kind of came together there because I really love to get dogs prepared for veterinary handling and stuff like that. And then COVID hit and I couldn't sit still. So I decided I love technology. So why not go virtual? Let's just jump in and see if people are into it. And it's different for sure, but I love it. And so I find it to be like a fun little challenge to, I don't need to be there with your dog in order to help you, because it's more about coaching the people as opposed to needing to have my hands on the dogs at all. And a lot of the shy dogs really appreciate that. They don't really want me to be in their house until, we have a plan in place. And so there are a lot of benefits to the virtual stuff. But with that, I had a lot of videos that I had made over the years. And so I decided to also start a virtual membership where during COVID, I could help teach people at a lower cost, basically. So it was kind of like not quite a DIY because there was a lot of support even in the beginning, but it was just a way for me to be able to teach people at a larger scale. So I started my membership in, I guess that would have been 2020. I think it was the end of 2020, October. And so the membership is still going strong 4 years later, and certainly virtual training is still going strong 4 years later as well. So
yeah, I got to imagine there's a lot of benefits being a part of a peer group type membership for dog training. So that was really innovative for you to try that. I'm actually just curious. I don't know if I've ever asked you this question before, but if COVID hadn't happened, do you think you would be in an online membership at this point?
I think I needed that nudge. Like I needed that. I kept just kind of putting it off, even though I knew that was the model I wanted to work towards, because there's only so many hours in the day, so I could only take on so many clients, and I wanted to be able to reach more people and get myself out there more on social media and all that. But COVID was definitely the push I needed to just jump in and be impulsive and just do the thing, right? And then grow it from there.
Well, and I know you and I have talked about this before. You're kind of less of a trainer and more of an educator. I know that you've been trying to move that way with all of this with all the great materials and stuff that you have created over the years. And you really seem like you have accomplished that. So, I hear raving things about your membership all the time because I know we have a lot of the same members. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, are you still doing it? Because I'd love for you to mention it if you are. The field trips for clients, do you still do that?
So yes and no. So come spring, definitely not in the winter. In the winter, it's just too much to manage everything. And what was happening with the field trips? So the field trips basically were these small group setups where we would take people who were working on their own stuff at home, at whatever they were working on, whether it was manners, whether it was, getting a shy dog out in the world, whether it was leash reactive behavior, separation anxiety, whatever. So they're working on it on their own at home. And then what was happening was they're like, well, okay, it's great for me to work on this at home, but how do I find people who will kind of like hang out while I practice these skills around them? Like I'm too nervous to ask my neighbors, or I don't really want to ask my friends, or, whatever the reason, it was hard for people to find other people kind of in a similar boat. So that's where the field trips came in, where basically we would literally meet in a field because I wanted a lot of space between dogs, and people would just work on what they had been working on at home, but in proximity to other dogs and people. And it was a really great idea. But as people started going back to work, it was getting harder and harder to schedule, because what would happen is people would want the evenings and weekends. And that was when things were busier out at the parks and at the places where we would tend to go, like the sports places and stuff like that. So it was just getting a little bit harder to manage that during the week. I wasn't getting as many people to do that during the week. But I will say in the last probably year and a half, I've gotten a lot, because I've also changed my private training, like who I can take for private training clients. So I've gotten a lot more people who are more available during the day. So I'm hoping that come spring, we'll be able to get back into that again. But at the very least, I think one of the biggest perks of the membership is the Facebook community. And I think I have about 40 people in there right now. So it's not huge, which means that you don't feel like you're lost in there sometimes. If it got bigger, I would definitely create some smaller groups so people could get to know each other, because I've been lost in those big memberships before in other places. But I think one of the biggest benefits is having that community and having people who are around. Granted, anybody from anywhere can join the membership, but I do find that it's a lot of more local people. So people who are within the vicinity of each other can arrange to meet up somewhere. So we've had some dogs kind of find there's one dog, Scout, who has a new girlfriend, Daisy, who he meets actually at Golden Dog Playground once a week, or maybe it's once every couple of weeks now. But they met through the membership, and it was just a great match. And Scout really needed another dog to play with, and that's how they got to know each other. And it was awesome. So that's been a really nice benefit, is just having that community feel. And I have another client in there who has arranged before to meet up with other members to kind of do a trade where they can trade stuff that they could sniff, because it's really enriching for dogs to be able to sniff stuff from other people's homes with their other dog smells on it and stuff like that. But it's really hard to go out to your neighbor's house and be like, hey, can I have some of your recycling? Or can I have some of your chickens' feathers? So it sounds silly, but it's really enriching for our dogs. So we've had some clients too who will do this rotation of stuff, and it just keeps their dogs busy. So I love the community piece to it. It's great.
Agreed. Well, let's go to your showcase here. Show everybody a little bit more about you and what you offer as well. Do you want to speak to this at all?
Sure. Lost you for a second there, but I think I can take over. So it's called the Pup Parent Support Club. It's transitioning over to that. I do have a free Facebook group right now, which is called the Pup Parents Community, I guess is what it's called. But I really love the pup parents feel. And then I do love the feel of it being a support club. So it's for the people mostly. I would say 75% for the people, but we're doing it also for the dogs. So I am also a licensed family dog mediator. And as a family dog mediator, I am really big into literally mediating between dogs and people. So trying to find that common ground so they can understand each other better. So this has a lot of family dog mediation feel to it in a membership type of forum. So it's meant to be a very safe space for people to connect, learn, and grow together. So that is kind of why I went with that tagline, because there is a lot of connection happening. You are learning a lot of stuff, even if it's just little bits at a time. And then you have that support in there as well. So that's the main gist of it. Some of the things, the perks, just to let you know what else we have besides just the Facebook group. So there is a very robust virtual library, which is always being added to and then organized so that it doesn't feel too overwhelming. But there are lessons for almost everything. I mean, this year alone, I had 12 webinars that I did once a month So every month had a theme to it, and we'll be doing something similar next year. So we talked about alone time skills. We talked about preparing your dog for a veterinary visit. We talked about play and 3 different styles of play and ways that you can play with your dog that will benefit them and also be functional as well. So we have lots of themed learning stuff. So lots and lots of learning, let me put it that way. And then the community, we do have a once a month live coaching call. And then I also offer office hours once a month as well. So one is in the evenings and then the other one is midday. So depending on schedule, hopefully you can make one. And all the group coaching calls are recorded. So if you ever feel like you want to get all the perks, but you just can't make it to all of them, they are recorded. Lots of discounts in there too. So if you decide to do private training with me, you do get a discount as a member as well. I think that covers it.
Awesome. And I think, as you mentioned, you offer a % discount
Yes.
for Golden Dog members. And is that for the membership and for private consults, or what does it cover?
Yep. So basically, just because of the way all the discount stuff works and all the codes and all that sort of stuff, basically you can sign up for the membership for a 10% discount. And then when you're a member, now you get a 20 or even 30% discount on private training. So it's like a discount to then go in and get another discount. So there's 2 different levels of membership. So on the lower level of membership, you get a 20% discount for stuff. And on the higher level, you get a 30% plus a 30-minute coaching call every month privately. So, it can get a little confusing. So that's where I just kind of say, like, start with a 10% discount, become a member. And then I promise you, you will be getting lots of discounts along the way. So just let the tech get hard.
Well, and just remind everybody, if you shop the holiday shit, at the bottom of the every want to support shop local, you can submit that to us and be entered for a chance to win a $100 shopping. This is not just I keep disappearing here. I have been having wonky internet service today with this storm. But there is also, if you make it all the way to the end of the holiday showcase guide, there is a little contest where you can locate the little golden dog avatar head in throughout the guide. We've hidden a certain number of them, and you can email us your count and be entered into an additional giveaway for a $25 gift card to a partner location. So we're just trying to make it fun, rewarding our partners for all of the support they give us by putting this guide out and supporting all of you for supporting our partners. Does that make sense? A lot of supporting. We just love support. Well, Laura, anything else we should know about you? I mean, I've got a little tidbit that I always love to share about Laura Gendron. Should I share it?
I don't know which one you're going to share.
So yes. Laura was tapped by Good Morning America. And that's my favorite thing about you. You're like this celebrity now. Tell us about that.
Yep. So when I was doing during the pandemic, and the kids, I have young kids, well, they're 10 and 12 now. They were younger at the time. And I didn't really know what to do. I wanted to help the people with their dogs, but I also had the kids at home. So I had a client who really wanted me to help her with her puppy somehow, but we couldn't get together, and she wanted to socialize the puppy, and she got the puppy right before COVID. So she didn't know it was going to happen. And I said, well, I have kids, I have a fenced in yard. I have all the ways of socializing to stuff, maybe not necessarily a lot of people at that time, but why don't maybe we could arrange for you to drop your puppy off at my house for half a day or something. So I ended up starting a pandemic puppy preschool program. So it's essentially before you get into all the real manners, it's just socializing them to stuff. We would set up obstacle courses, play games, and play red light, green light, and the kids had a blast. And then I ended up posting something about that in some group somewhere, and then it got picked up on Good Morning America as a creative thing that people were doing during the pandemic. So that was scary and also amazing to be able to do that. So, and I think it's still on their website somewhere if you look for it. Yeah.
Kudos to you for being you've all been the kind of person and you moving forward. So good for you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. And if you're watching on the replay, if you have any questions at all for Laura, just feel free to tag her or tag us below. And happy holidays.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.